Manchester United host Real Sociedad tonight. The tie is level at 1-1. And Rangers up against Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce. When that one was drawn, Simon, I thought, they're going to toil there. They're going to toil there. Mourinho will have their make their work cut out for them on the night. Fenerbahce will do it over the two legs. Maybe not. Rangers go in tonight 3-1 up from the first leg in Turkey. So they're at Ibrox tonight. Out of the three sides, do you think it's most likely that Rangers do it? 0-0 Man United.
I think they'll all do it.
1-0 Tottenham down. 0-1 Tottenham.
I think they'll all do it. I think.
Sorry, 1-1 Manchester United.
I think 1-1. I think they'll all go through, but I think it's a really good result for Rangers. It's a further diminishing of Mourinho. He can huff and he can puff and he can make noises about officials and whatever else he thinks is not happening. But this is not a great. This is a poor result for them. For Rangers to go to Turkey and to win 3-1 with all the noise that Mourinho creates and all the backdrop and all the cases that are made for him by people like me, this is poor. And to be fair, I wonder if we would operate with the same level of expectation of Fenerbahce if Mourinho hadn't been in the dugout, because they ain't no great shakes, and that's not a great shakes of a league. I don't care if Souness went over there and did well over there. It's not a great league. You know, you don't tend to have the best players in the world playing there. They tend to go through or find it as a particular moment in time and come out of there.
It's a two-club league.
So it's a two-club league. So they recognise there's a similar trait between Rangers and Celtic and Fenerbahce and Galatasaray.
Right.
With a few changes in Turkey every now and again. Besiktas and a few other teams have had a few moments in time.
Yeah.
But I expect Rangers to go through. Now, does that lead to a challenge for Rangers? I suspect it does, because inevitably people are going to start suggesting that Barry Ferguson is a man for all seasons. I would urge them to be careful about that for both his sake and theirs, because it's one thing managing Rangers when everybody's, faces on the floor and Clement's turned it into whatever they think he's turned it into, and the boardroom couldn't find his backside with both hands in a funnel. It's one thing making that decision then. It's another thing when you've got to deal with the reality of playing Kilmarnock away in a Scottish Premier League season where Celtic are streaking away again. And you've got to think carefully about those things. So I would urge caution.
He strengthens his case though tonight, Simon. If they go through and they beat Celtic at the weekend, which I think is a tall order.
Well,
if they do both of these things,
it strengthens his case. Of course it does. But it's really important not to operate in a bubble, whether it's Bitcoin or whether it's .com or whether it's owning a football club. That bubble can't be a moment where you see things differently than the reality of what they are.
Yeah.
Now, of course, they're working with Barry Ferguson. There is a track record. Ferguson has managed at a certain level and not been particularly successful. Does that preclude him and exclude him? No, I think it gives you an edge. It gives you a barometer, like it gives you a barometer about Steven Gerrard and where he's at in this great scheme of things as a football manager. But I expect Rangers Rangers have got to really steal defeat from the jaws of victory, not to go through in this competition.
I agree.
And at Ibrox, with the crowd behind them, carrying a 2-goal advantage against a relatively pedestrian Fenerbahce side that ain't all they're cracked up to be, besides Mourinho's name across their dugout. I expect them to go through, and I expect United to do the job against Sociedad, and I expect Tottenham, and all of them have a needs must. Ferguson for the job. I suspect Ange Postecoglou, whether he likes it or not, or whether I'm forming part of the hyena pack, Postecoglou to keep his job, and Ruben Amorim to salvage something out of some dough, because poor old Jim Radcliffe's got no money next season. Of course.
Well, of course, Mourinho's been in Glasgow this week and he's charming the birds off the trees, but don't be fooled by it. There were some eyebrows raised this week amongst some of the answers that Sir Jim Ratcliffe was giving. He named the likes of Casemiro, Anthony, Jadon Sancho, Andre Onana as overpaid and underperforming. And pre-match to the game tonight against Real Sociedad, Amorim was asked about those observations.
In this moment, everybody, me, all the players, we are underperforming this season. So we can always change that. So I include myself in that part of underperforming. And you are talking about players like Casemiro, for example, that won everything. And we know that these kind of players can play so much better. So that is the focus, and he was honest on that. So the focus is to change his mind and to change all the people's minds.
Did you ever?
Oh yeah, I mean, you want Casemiro out the door. He's not part of the future.
Well, did you ever do what Sir Jim did, and name check a few of them?
Yeah, I think I did. Well, I certainly did very early doors. I put Clinton Morris and Hayden Mullins and Jamie Smith on the transfer list because I didn't like their attitude. They were the three big shots in the dressing room that thought they were worth a lot of money. Put them on a transfer list, and when no bugger came in to buy them, I had a good laugh at their expense, saying, "Get back down to doing your jobs properly." So that was the ultimate telling people they weren't worth anything.
Yeah.
Look, it's interesting because people have accused Amorim of jettisoning in. You're going to need these players. Like Martin Keown sits in his studio and says he's jettisoned players. He's effectively binned them off, and he needs them right now. This is an example of him putting his arms around everybody and saying, ultimately, we're all underperforming. When really, if I was listening to the show yesterday, I probably would have heard Nicky Butt being scathing about some of the Manchester United players and not pulling any punches.
True.
Amorim has been scathing in some of his actions. In this instance, he's actually sitting there and going, we're all underperforming. So he's taken the steam out of the argument and taken the finger pointing that I don't know if Jim Ratcliffe finger pointed. I think he was asked questions and he tried to tap dance his way through answering questions at the same time as being a forthright billionaire.
You think all three go through tonight?
I do.
Oh, Simon, I'd love to think so.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.